Hi people, it's me Anja, my pronouns all she and her, and welcome back to my channel. For a new video, my family and I are currently traveling in the Netherlands, which is so much fun so far. For example, yesterday we went to this graffiti street art museum, which was stationed outside, kind of. I don't really know how to explain it, but it was very hot walking around in there. But the art was so pretty and so fascinating. Many of the artists were international, although some were native to the Netherlands. But anyway, I'll show you that footage afterwards. But I'm currently reading A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, which is an urban adult fantasy, and it's set in the same universe as, what was it called? The Secret Society of Irregular Witches or something? I don't remember. I read that book in like January and there was so much hype for it, but there's much less hype for this companion novel. And I'm starting to see why, because it's frankly not that good. It's cozy, it's low stakes, and like I'm not really enjoying it as much as the previous book, just because, like I said, the stakes aren't as high. I'm not as emotionally connected to the characters. The romance is such a slow burn romance. I don't even think that the characters are even aware that they like each other, and it feels as if the female main character, for example, will realize that the male character likes her after he makes a move, and then she'll just be like, okay, I wasn't really aware of this until now, but now I suppose I'm on board. You know what I mean? I don't know. But anyway, I think I'm going to rate it 3 stars because I feel as if it's quite mid so far. Not even the magic or the world building is really intriguing me at the moment. But at the current moment, it's not that it's the only option I have at the moment, but I am curious as to where the plot is going to go, and that's the only thing that's keeping me going at the moment. But yeah, there's that. So as predicted, I rated this book 3 stars because what was mid about it? Everything. The magic system, I don't really understand. Spoiler alert. I'm just gonna spoil this book because I actually don't care. I don't understand why it took her 15 years to figure that out when it was in her pendant, in her necklace the entire time. I think that I've discovered that I'm not the biggest fan of the trope that's like, main character thinks that magic is the greatest thing ever, only to discover something greater along the lines of like found family, love, value, only to also lose her magic in the end. Like, why can't she have both? I don't know. I think it's because it's giving the trope that I also hate, which is when a female main character, most likely, is very ambitious and like ambitious driven and career driven, which I love, because oftentimes that's a trope seen only in men, and then she like puts aside her career to pursue love. Like, why can't she have love and her career at the same time? I don't understand this idea that like people have to put aside like their dreams and desires and careers and jobs to find love, which is also just as important as a career. Like, why can't we have both? I don't understand. Because it gives off the idea that you're, like, settling or something. I don't know. Anyway, I rated it 3 stars, and I thought that the irregular secret society of secret witches, or whatever that one was called, was so much better. So anyway, I'm currently reading Wandering Wild, which is a YA contemporary following a celebrity who has, like, a bad boy image, but he isn't actually a bad boy, obviously. And he's going on this 4-day retreat with a fan of his, but she's not actually a fan. But basically, why is she on the trip? I've just started this book, and she's on this trip for her best friend because of some deal that she made with her, but she doesn't like him because of a recent scandal that he went through that I don't really know the details of, and I don't actually know why she dislikes that specific scandal, like why it's so personal to her. I'm expecting to enjoy this book more than the last book I read, which is exciting, but I have, like, higher expectations just because I've read a YA fantasy trilogy by this author before, and this is her first, like, introduction to another genre that's not fantasy, if I understand correctly, because I think The Prison Hero was her debut, and that's the trilogy that I read, although the first one was great, and the second two were not so great. So anyway, all that to say, I am enjoying this book so far. I am not the biggest fan of, like, forced proximity, honestly, but I'm excited to see, like, the details of these characters and their dynamics and their individual arcs and how the romance will play out and everything. So that's exciting. Hi people, it's the next day and we're calling in Copenhagen, and as for my reading update, I finished Wandering Wild yesterday and I rated it 3 stars because it was frankly not that good. And I'm currently reading an Encantadora's Guide to Monstros and Magic, which I believe is a Portuguese-inspired middle-grade fantasy, and it's marketed as Encanto meets Ocean's 8, which is very exciting because I think it's set in a society that favors the wealthy, which is very interesting. I'm not sure if there's magic or what exactly fantastical is involved, but it involves a heist, which I love. So I'm very excited to read that next. So yeah, there's that. It's the next day. We're still in Copenhagen. I think that we're gonna stay here until the 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I finished my book. I thought it was quite good. I rated it 4 stars because I enjoyed the characters, the found family. I love a heist, the plot, the world building, the friendships. Like, everything about it was so good and so wholesome. I love middle grade fantasy just in general. Everyone knows that. So anyway, with that said, I rated it 4 stars, and I would definitely highly, highly recommend it. I'm not quite sure if the author has planned for sequels or anything like that. The ending was kind of open. You know what I mean? But if there are all sequels planned or not, I will read them. I mean, obviously, if there are no sequels planned, then I won't read them. But you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm currently reading Fateless, which is a YA contemporary. It's not YA contemporary. Why did I say that so naturally? It's a YA fantasy, and it's written by an author that I have not read by in quite some time. I know that she's well known for writing, like, YA Asian-inspired fantasies. I read a book by her back in high school, like in 2018 or something like that. I didn't really enjoy it, so I have avoided her for quite some time. But, you know, this book came out the other day or something like that, and I decided to just pick it up on a whim, especially since I'm on vacation, and not to say that I have less options being on vacation versus being at home, because I can just, like, I have Wi-Fi at the hotels, so I can just download books here or from the library or whatever. So, yeah, Also, if you've been watching along, I don't necessarily have less time to read when I'm on vacation versus being at home, but I have less periods of time where I'm just sitting down, since we spend the whole day basically like going on tours in the morning or the afternoon, which means that by the time that I do have time to like sit down, I have less energy than I would at home, and then I'm more inclined to like take a nap rather than read. Does that make any sense? I don't really know if it does, but anyway, today we just walked around in Copenhagen, and I said in my last video that I was going to research accessibility in Amsterdam, and I didn't really, except that I tweeted asking if anyone is Dutch and disabled and what they said. Basically, and what I've discovered from being in Amsterdam a few days ago, is that the city is very old, so the streets are paved with cobblestones, which in my opinion make it harder for somebody with cerebral palsy to walk around. And Copenhagen also has cobblestones everywhere. So there's that. Obviously, I don't speak for the entire disabled population, since everybody has different disabilities. And even if you do have the same disability as me, everyone experiences it differently. So that's just my opinion, frankly. But anyway, other influencers, I'm not an influencer, but other people who like go on vacation or whatever, or travel, you know, take Ubers and stuff. So that's also a factor. Me and my family like walk everywhere basically. Sometimes we take the metro, but sometimes it's just more convenient to walk. But anyway, all that to say, I'm enjoying my trip so far. The food is mid, but it's Europe, so that's to be expected. Anyway, I'm enjoying my book so far. Like I said, I haven't read a book by Julie in like 6 years, and I think I'm enjoying it so far. I love what I think is a heist, kind of, but it's a solo heist. I don't know. I'm enjoying the world building and the plot and everything, so maybe I should go back through her backlog and read more books by her after this. I don't know. Anyway, that's my update. Hi people, it's the next day again. I finished Fateless. I'm currently reading a new book. All that to say, I'm enjoying Copenhagen so far. It's full of really cool architecture, which I really enjoy looking at. As for Fateless, I rated it 3 stars because I enjoyed like the world building and the plot and everything, like the characters and the romance. Although I thought that like when the side characters were introduced, I thought that it was going to be a love triangle that I was hoping would descend into polyamory, which historically doesn't happen often in YA, but I thought it was going to be a bit of a love triangle, and then it wasn't. Anyway, I won't be reading the sequel if they're all sequels, so I rated it 3 stars because I thought it was mid. But like overall, it's been a fun time. All that to say, I think I'm going to end this video here because I just don't want to film anymore. That's the reason. That's just it. So when I get home, I have so many videos that I need to film. But yeah, anyway, there's that. I enjoyed my time here in Copenhagen and in Amsterdam. Although honestly, I think that I personally preferred Amsterdam, even though technically I have a few more days here in Copenhagen, so that might not be accurate. But anyway, in conclusion, if you enjoy this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the balloon emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.